Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Daily Racing Form YouTube. I'm Gino Buccola alongside Ashley Mailloux with producer Bobby helping us out as we head on over to Del Mar for a big day of racing there. We're going to preview the Del Mar Mile. But before we get into that, we want to let you know that all the way through Monday, it is the Labor Day sale right now at shop.drf.com. You can save on all of your favorite Daily Racing Form products, clocker reports. If you're someone who purchases the packages together for past performances, you can get 15% off PPs, handicapping products, shop.drf.com. Make sure to use that coupon code there. Let's take a look at the field for the Del Mar Mile. Huge day of racing, Ashley. This is one of the stakes races earlier on the card. As you and I are recording on Thursday morning, I was just reading an advance that came out that said John Sadler's still kind of up in the air with Full Serrano if he wants to run him here. It did seem like a strange spot for a horse who's very classy, your Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner last year. So if he's in the race, he's obviously a player because he's really fast and he'll definitely change the complexion of the race. You have him, who's sort of a wild card, Ashley, and then you have the top milers right now in Southern California with Formidable Man and King of Gosford. They've kind of stamped themselves at the top of the division.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot for him, but we've seen, stranger things. And I think when you look at this year, you can go back to Mystic Dan. We've seen him on the grass. Full Serrano, the case would be, he's raced on the grass. He's a winner on the grass. So they thought enough to at least enter him for this spot. I would like to kind of see what he could do. I think that would be interesting, but it's a good field. You mentioned King of Gosford. In a lot of ways, he is the horse to beat looking at his performances in grade 1 events now in this grade 2. But there are others that I think from a figure standpoint, they class up with him.
And Full Serrano is a horse who, coming off of a long layoff, maybe a little kinder on his feet to be on the grass. You see that with older horses and horses off long layoffs. What does the Timeform US pace projector think, Ashley, as far as how this race will set up? Full Serrano, very quick. I mean, he has run some huge races last year in the Pacific Classic. He was on the lead. It was the race before that when he was going like sub 22 and just kept going. Nesso's last hurrah is also quick. And Cabo Spirit wants to be forwardly placed. If those three are all in the mix, they could be keeping each other honest.
Absolutely. And obviously this will update in the event of scratches if Full Serrano doesn't go. I think also when you look at the speed here, it also has a lot to do with where they're drawn, the 1 and the 8, having the bookends here of the starting gate. I would pretty much agree with this. Full Serrano, can he go like that on turf? Probably. And then with the draw, but the 1's definitely going as well.
I think that's what makes both Formidable Man and King of Gosford so tough when you see where they are on the pace projector, because they can sit mid-pack, they can sit a little bit closer if need be. They're both just pretty versatile horses, and that's why they've become so consistent. Let's meet the field here for the Grade 2 Del Mar Mile. This is going to go as race number 5, $300,000 up for grabs on Saturday, August the 30th. Nesso's last hurrah is really consistent, 11 for 13 overall, in the money in 8 straight. But I just worry about the presence of Full Serrano, Cabo Spirit. This 4-year-old will be stepping up into stakes races for the first time. And with that other speed in here, I'm just concerned that things are a little too tough early on.
He would still need a buyer boost as well, right? Gino, looking at his
Yep.
highest number coming last time out at 90. I also look at his last 5, and it's not to be harsh on him, but kind of plateaued in terms of figures. You're not seeing a lot of movement. So now to think that he's going to take the step forward while jumping up, little tough, but he is very consistent. You're going to get value here.
We move to Cabo Spirit. He is so honest. And this is a horse, Ashley, who I kind of would play against previously. And now in his last 4 races, look what he's done. 4 consecutive graded stakes races that he's either won or been within a length. I mean, he's just right there on the wire all the time. He actually used to be better going longer, and now they've cut him back to a mile. He can sit off the pace a little bit. I just feel like he's a cut below Formidable Man and King of Gosford. You can kind of see that in the past performances. And then if you add in the factor that there might be some other speeds in here, that's probably going to make life difficult for him. But I just wanted to give credit to Papa Padromo and to this horse in particular, because he's been really honest as of late, and he's not far behind the top horses in this division.
And I thought he was good after the little bit of a freshening that he had. And you bring up a great point. He's consistent. He just might be a cut below, and he's firing big races. I mean, look at his last 3, to be honest. They have been stellar efforts, and one of them was a win, but it was a grade 3 win. He actually was able to beat King of Gosford. But as you look at his return to the races here, he runs well. He tried to take him on the front end. They went slower, 1.125 miles. Now he's going to cut back in distance. I don't know what to do with him here. I think if you're playing the bottom of the exotics, that's probably where he belongs. But also, Gino, look at his off odds. To see him below 6-1, you have to go pretty far back,
Yeah.
years to find that. So I think once again, if you're going to use him, you have to ask for some value.
Completely agree. We move to Almendaris. He's a deep closer, but he's a true miler, Ashley. And he, for a horse who has his running style, who's a deeper closer, he's actually pretty consistent, being 12 of 17 in the top three. And you can kind of poke through his form and the races that he doesn't really fire a big race, legitimate excuses. Most of the time, he shows up with good performances. He actually owns the co-top turf buyer in the field. He's actually hit the 100 mark multiple times. Nobody else in the field has done that 2 different times. He gets a little bit of class relief last time out in the Wicker, and it worked. He just sat a great trip. I think we have a replay of that one. He looked like a winner. He was traveling really well. He got a nice split, and then just an easy victory for him here. He does just need to get a little bit of pace to chase, but on paper, he may get that in this field. If King of Gosford and Formidable Man are noticeably shorter in price, to me, this horse might offer some serious value in the race because I think class-wise, he's pretty close to them. He just kind of needs a trip.
Yeah, and it's interesting to look at his wins. He's not winning again all the time, but his 3 wins all at Del Mar on the turf course. And you can see he's been sort of strategically campaigning. You're seeing him, what, 5 times a year, really, the last few. And obviously, I do think he gained a lot out of his last race. He had to work out a trip, so I was pretty impressed with it. Now I think this is the right move. Move him back up the class ladder. See if he can compete with this group.
We move to Formidable Man, multiple grade 1 winner. He is 5 for 5 over the Del Mar turf course. He absolutely loves it down here. I mean, you can just go through his form overall. It really makes sense. He wins the Eddie Reed. 3 starts back, he wins the Kilroe. In the Shoemaker, he just got caught a little too far back that race. And it actually felt like that was sort of the race for King of Gosford. That was kind of set up for him, second start back. For Formidable Man, he just seems like one of the horses to beat in here. I don't have many knocks on him, Ashley.
No, and they've regrouped, right? So he had such a good 3-year-old campaign. They said, let's, start things off with a bang as a 4-year-old. Let's go to Gulfstream Park. Don't know if that was the right move when you look at the horses that go to the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational. So since the regrouping, he's been good. I didn't love, though, his performance 2 back. So you can see, again, they regrouped, similar strategy to others, such as, other horses that we've already talked about. They come back and they get the win. And wasn't a big field last time out, but interesting horses in there. Now he cuts back in distance. That could be the right move as well.
We move to Suchet. This guy was really impressive in his Del Mar debut on July 26th. He just missed. I actually thought he was going to win the race. I wonder if his rider did too, because he was just moving so well. He cuts the corner. He's saving all the ground inside, and he gets to the front. But when he hit the lead, Ashley, there were 2 horses to his outside, and he had the horse right next to him measured. I wonder if the horse didn't see the one 2 horses outside of him. He was almost like blocked by him, because that's the horse who ends up getting him late. This guy has some ability, but this is a big step up, and he's going to have to pass a lot of horses in here. But we see Paco Lopez aboard, who's coming out to Del Mar to ride. I think he has 5 mounts on Saturday, so you'll see him in some big ones.
Yeah, I think you really have to judge him based on what you saw last time out, because prior to that, his races in France, there are a couple of stakes, but they're not group events, right? And they're, what you can see the names of them. They're on the poly track in 2 of them. So tough to read into that form. Obviously, he came over here. They prepped him, had his works, and I think he ran well. And I think the other thing to understand is it can be a tough task. Yes, he got the pace that he needed. He had to close from off of it, but a horse that rarely saw firm ground in a lot of those turf races. So now you have an assessment of him. He does seem like the type as a 4-year-old based on that effort, that he could take a big step forward second time stateside.
We move to Zio Joe. He's been a little unlucky. He was in the Wicker and he finished second most recently at 14-1. He sat a really nice trip, but when Almendaris got a clear run through, Zio Joe had to wait a little bit. I don't know if he was going to win the race. He made it a little bit closer, but unlucky there. He ran his eyeballs out in the Kilroe a few starts back, and he was just not good enough. He was right behind Formidable Man. That's kind of my concern with him. You see his last 4 races in a row, he's going to have to turn the tables on rivals who have defeated him, Ashley. So I respect his ability. It just feels like he might need a slight class drop to get to the winner's circle.
Yeah, I don't have too much to add to that. I think you said it really well. I think you look at maybe his grade 3 performance 3 back. I can find an excuse, somewhat of an excuse. I can't against the deeper waters. He just has not been good enough to compete with the likes that he has to face again.
King of Gosford is a grade 1 winner, and he has the co-top turf buyer in the field. He just beat Cabo Spirit. He just beat Formidable Man last time out. He has 7 straight top 3 tries. My only concern with him on the win end is that it did feel like that Shoemaker was a really nice setup, second start back off the bench. You felt like he was going to be kind of peaking and priming for that. I almost wonder if they have, the plans for the Breeders' Cup. And the plan is to get the one race under him here, maybe one more, and then prime him for the Breeders' Cup. Even if he shows up with maybe a B+ effort, it still might be good enough to win this race because this guy is just sharp. He's gotten better as a 4-year-old, Ashley. My only concern is just that now he has 3 months off and some of his other rivals have a little more recency, but that's just something small, and it's not really an issue when it's not like a 6-month or 8-month layoff for him. He's very honest, and he's one of the major players.
Yeah, and I think you bring up a point about the layoff in terms of, true layoffs. It's not a huge one. We've seen him from May to July in the past. Sure, he didn't run well, but December to April, then he's second into grade 3 and runs a really good race. I think in terms of the race flow last time out, he was, kind of, middle to back of the field and still close, but they also went 45 and 3 to the half. He got the setup that he needed at the mile. I just like that he's handy. Look at his races. A horse that can be forward, they can go fast, or he can rally from off of it. I think it gets Flavien a ton of options, and no discredit to others that have ridden him, but Flavien and him, they've had a lot of success, and I think he's very comfortable with knowing that he's got a horse that he can sort of put into the race from wherever. So in my opinion, he's probably the horse to beat.
Yep, him and Formidable Man, I think, right up there, top tier. As we move to Full Serrano, Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile winner from last year, but he has not raced since that Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile in November. He can absolutely fly. On August the 24th, there was a workout that was on First TV that you can watch. And Ashley, just to let you know how quick he is, he was immediately way in front of Miramati in a work. And we know Miramati is one of those need the lead speed horses. And this guy was much, much faster than him early. Got a little tired in that work, as you could expect, but he can sit off slightly if need be. He is a real wild card in here because nothing would surprise me about his presence in this race. Winning, making this field go really quick, maybe needing the race, any of those results wouldn't shock me.
Yeah, and I'm really curious, what price is he going to be in here? I mean, I don't know. I mean, his resume, he is Breeders' Cup Grade 1 winner, but it's on the dirt. So I'm always kind of perplexed in how the betting public views horses like this. Like you said, it can go either way. He does have turf racing. He's 3 for 6 in the money. I know, he's obviously taken to the dirt, and maybe people will question, well, why is he on the turf today? But I don't know. I think I'm a little intrigued by him. He'd be a horse that, if he's an okay price, I don't know what that is. I really have to think about what it'll be. And I think the line will be, kind of your what I'll use in my mind to decide what the right price is. But if he's good value here, I'm really intrigued to use him underneath. I won't use him to win, but I would use him underneath.
And he's the type of horse who you probably use in your pick 5. If this is the last leg of the early pick 5 and you're playing it and you're kind of hemming and hawing and you see that he's 5 or 6 to 1 in a spot like this, then you want to throw him in. I think if you start getting below that and you're like 7 to 2 and below against some of the top turf milers, you probably want a little more value, but really tricky read in a fun race number 5 on Saturday at Del Mar. As we move to selections, Ashley, for this one in the Del Mar Mile, how do you want to stack them up?
Well, I said it. I'm going to use Full Serrano underneath, and I said King of Gosford. I think he's the horse to beat. So that's the exact. I'm not getting creative. I just think King of Gosford gives Flavien options, where I feel like others in here, they really have one way of going. Hopefully the pace is honest, and he sits just off of it, makes one run.
Lots of similarities for us. Ashley will have 7, 8, 3, 4. I'm going to put Almondaris on top. Maybe we get a little more value there. I'll go 3, 4, 7, and then throw the 2 Cabo Spirit there in the 4th spot. Whoever you play, however you play them, we wish you the best of luck.